Hello, my name is John Hellier, and I would like to introduce foundational visualization for rapid development. And what I mean by foundational visualization is a visualization that can stand on its own, that is easily extendable to tell different stories. So what you see here is a visualization of the financials of 10 leading tech companies. And just looking at this, I can go through and view different slices of the financials for each of these 10 companies and how they stack up. For instance, I want to look at the R&D spending. In this case, Microsoft is the one that spends the most on R&D, or if you go down and look at Apple, Apple spends almost half of what Microsoft spends on R&D. Or I can go all the way out and take a look at income. Apple is far and above the winner here with the most income. I can also look at it in terms of income per employee, or for that matter, any of these financial slices per employee. So taking a look at R&D, for example, you'll see that Facebook spends the most on R&D per employee. Or if you go down to some like Apple, who is very heavy on the product side, yet their total spending in R&D per employee is a little more than $60,000 per year. As I said, a foundational viz should stand on its own and be able to tell stories on its own. So this is far and above a typical charting library or something like that. This allows you to tell a story with the base foundational viz. Now let's say that I wanted to add pieces to this. So for example, I could go in and, again, taking the same base foundational viz, add to that a view of their revenue and the slices of the financial data as a percentage of the revenue. So what you see on the bottom here is, if I look at this light blue one, this represents cost of revenue, and that is the percentage that the cost of revenue is of total revenue. So as I go through here, you'll see how this changes based on where these stack up. So in this case, gross profit, LinkedIn has the highest gross profit as a percentage of revenue. So this gives you a different view down on the bottom than the view up here. So it allows you to be able to tell multiple stories on top of the foundational viz that you already have here. Then let's take a totally different view on this. Let's say I want to ask the question, could I pay $100,000 more per employee for my company? Could I do it? Well, again, using the base foundational viz here, all I've done is I've added 2 new buttons on the end here that correspond to being able to pay $100,000 more per employee. So if I click on $100,000 more per employee by the company, it shows that in the case of Amazon, it would cost over $15 billion to pay every single employee in the company $100,000 more per year. Or if you go down to Google, it would cost $5.5 billion. Okay, now that's based on the whole company. Let's say I want to do it in terms of an employee. Well, as I'm looking down here, it would cost 30% of my pre-tax income for Google to pay $100,000 more per employee. For Apple and Facebook, it would cost 20% more of pre-tax income to pay every single employee $100,000 more per year. In the case of Amazon, Salesforce, and LinkedIn, they don't have sufficient income to do that. And the way this particular graph works is this is taking in consideration the current tax rate that they're paying. So if they're actually paying $100,000 more in taxes, by taking that same $100,000 out, given their tax rate, it would effectively only cost, in the case of Facebook, $60,000 per employee to pay $100,000 more because of the savings that you have. So what this illustrates is you have a foundational viz that I can easily add more pieces to, whether it's in the case of salary or I'm looking at it as in the case of percentage of revenue. And this is wide open to adding any other types of add-on visualizations. But the key here is that I have a base or foundational viz that tells a story in itself or allows you to tell a story that is easily extended to add new functionality. So what this gives you is a way to rapidly develop new visualizations in a familiar setting so the users don't have to get up to speed on a totally new type of visualization that they haven't seen before. This is a familiar one that just adds new pieces of functionality to it. And I'm using this as a model to show how you could create other foundational visualizations that tell a story in itself that you could then extend to tell other stories. So this would allow you to very rapidly create new visualizations and be able to tell a wide variety of stories with a minimal amount of investment and time. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this set of visualizations. Again, this is foundational visualization for rapid development. This is John Hellier.